Hello my hungry friends, welcome back to Poultry Kitchen. Look at this wonderful, smooth beef gravy. Today we're cooking beef. ZRAZY ZAWIJANE, beef rolls. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here, thank you for watching, thank you for liking my videos and subscribing to my channel. I'm very grateful for you supporting me in many ways through my merch shop and through watching these videos. It helps keep this channel going and it helps me and my husband have fun with it. I hope you enjoy and we'll get right to it. Today we are making Polish beef rolls, ZRAZY ZAWIJANE, and we'll get right to it. I have my beef steaks pounded out already. You can buy those pre-packaged, sliced already, or you can buy a roast. The leaner the better, and then slice your steaks and then pound them out into thin, kind of pancake-like beef pancakes. Which my husband has done for me because he's very strong. So they're over here. And for this recipe, we'll also need a nice good quality bacon, smoked, preferably thick cut. I bought mine in slab and then I sliced it pretty thick. Did I say thin sliced or thick sliced?
I don't know.
You need thick sliced. And you're going to need pickles. I'm using pickles in brine, which I know those are kind of hard to get sometimes. If you make your own at home, then you're good to go. If you can't buy them, you can just use dill pickles or whatever your favorite pickle is. Just as long as you can either get spears or whole pickles and then slice them into spears. And then I have about half an onion that's been cut into feathers. And I have mustard. If you can get a good brown mustard, that's best. And we're going to need toothpicks because we're going to roll our content into our beef rolls. And we're going to put the toothpicks in there to hold the meat in. So we can get right to it. So at first, I need to sprinkle these with a little bit of salt and pepper, which I only kind of do in bulk. And I don't have to be too worried about how much. Just put a good layer, salt and pepper. And we'll flip these and do the other side. And I know Americans eat a lot of beef. So this is one of those recipes that's tends to be a favorite to make. My husband is a big fan. He's a beef eater. I like to make these occasionally for like a Sunday dinner. They're nice. They become nice and tender. They cook for they're kind of slow cooked on the stove, and the beef becomes nice and soft and it falls apart and it's delicious. I don't know, is there a dish called beef rolls in America?
I don't know. We just
Have you ever had a roll of beef like this?
I don't believe I've ever had a roll of beef. No. We've had beef kebabs, steaks, roasts, that sort of thing, but I don't think I've ever had, other than when you made this.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have. It doesn't mean it's not out there. I'm sure. Hey, somebody out there, comment below. What is an American beef roll?
Is there an American beef roll? Is American beef roll better than Polish beef roll? I highly doubt it.
Maybe if you made a Polish beef roll with American beef.
You can definitely make a better Polish beef roll with American beef, because American beef is a lot better than Polish beef. So in Poland we don't eat a lot of beef because one, it's expensive. and 2, it's expensive. So it was kind of once in a while kind of treat. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we have the mustard here. So I'm gonna take a teaspoon and just let it go on kind of evenly. And then we're gonna take a slice of bacon, a slice of pickle. You can do more if you like, or you will judge how much you want in it, I guess, once you start rolling too. But one or maybe one more little guy. And then we'll put this side in first, and then we'll roll this. And then take your toothpicks and then kind of secure it as much as you can. Try to be tight so it doesn't fall apart, and pull it with your toothpick and just go all the way through. This actually looks pretty good. And then we'll do this with the rest of them, and then we're gonna stew them for a little while on our stove. I suppose this is a dish that you can make in a cast iron dish too. I don't know if you've seen the video we published last week. It was about a dish that we make on fire called pieczonki, and that's something that stews for a long time over fire. This would probably do well too. You just have to watch it a little bit better. So this pickle seems a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to put one in here. And then we're going to roll these guys in and secure with a toothpick. And I'm going to work through the rest of these rolls, and then once we're done, we'll come back and we'll finish them in, or we'll not finish them, we'll brown them in the pan. So I'll see you in a bit. We have our rolls ready. Next thing you do is test your tongs. Good. Heat is on, yes, very good. The pan is hot. Make sure it's nice and hot. Yeah, very good choice of words today. My Polish mind is not working well. Heat is on, pan is hot, a little bit of oil at the bottom. I'm using grapeseed, and we're gonna sear our rolls. So I put in one by one. We're gonna sear these guys. Maybe this can come down a little bit now. We're gonna sear these guys just a little bit, just so they get some color. And then we're gonna take them out, and they don't have to cook through. They just have to get nice color. And then they're gonna finish cooking in the sauce. I'm just gonna do this real quick. I'm using cast iron pan, but you can just use a regular pot. Just make sure it's big. And I have a little nugget of beef left, so I'm just gonna pop it in here too. So that's nice and hot, and it's searing right away. I need to get something. Oh, there you go. Add a little bit of oil. So what we're trying to do is to get a nice sear. So just keep an eye on them and keep flipping around. If because of the toothpicks you can't get each side exactly even, that's okay. Just as long as they have a little bit of the browning on them, just so they look a little bit more attractive. Like this is kind of the sear we're looking for. But it may be a little bit difficult sometimes to kind of get them to stick to or get to the bottom of the pan and get exactly flat on the surface. Just do your best. Get a larger pan if you need to. But I can smell that bacon on the inside. Some of the ends are sticking out and they're melting a little bit, and that's gonna melt right into our beef and give it more flavor. Fat is flavor, so this is what we want. So this is just gonna be a couple minutes. Again, we're not looking to cook these through. They're too thick to just cook in there on the stove like this. I think these gotten enough sear on them, so I'm just going to take them out and put them onto my pan. Just a little brownie. You can go longer if you wish. You can smell the mustard too. It's oozing out of the meat a little bit. It's nice flavor. See, this one's nice and brown like this. This guy's little. These two maybe need a little bit longer. That's close enough. And then we have these beautiful juices on the bottom, so we want to preserve these. So we're not getting rid of them. I want to add a little bit more oil. You can also do a little bit of butter. And I'm adding 1.5 onion. And our onion's going to pick up the little bits of meat on the bottom. And we want to saute this a little bit. I'm going to get me a better spatula. We're going to pick up the bits and pieces off the bottom. If you wanted to get fancy, you can even add some red wine, about 1/2 cup, and cook that off once the onions are done. Not traditional Polish kitchen, but definitely elevated, which I'm just going to stick to the tradition and do the old school type of cooking. Onions are browning nicely. Watch your heat so they don't burn right away. We're gonna add, I'll turn my heat down just a tiny bit. And to our onions, we're gonna add the Polish trio. The bay leaves, I'm gonna do 3 dried bay leaves. Then I have allspice berries, they're whole like this. I'm gonna pop just however many you grab, 5, 6, 7. And I have, ooh, I can smell those right away. And I have whole black pepper. I'm also gonna grab just a pinch, probably 8 or 10 berries, or what do you call them? Peppercorns, I guess. And our onion is coming along, and to it, I will also add dried mushrooms, which those are wild dried mushrooms. They're really easy to find in Poland. You can buy big bags of dried mushrooms in the store. If you're a mushroom picker like I am, I normally go in the fall, end of August, kind of depending on the season. End of August, beginning of September, mushroom season starts. And we go and pick our mushrooms out in the woods. And then you can slice them or clean them, slice them, and dry them, and then use them throughout the year for your different soups and stews. I'm adding the dried mushrooms. If you can't find these, I did find a good quality mushroom that I bought on Amazon, and I will post a link in the description for them. It was a nice mix, really close to the real thing. I really liked cooking with them. If you can't find them in where you live, you can add a few dried shiitake mushrooms, or you can just skip this step, or you can add a few just fresh mushrooms too. They would saute with the onions. So I will add these in here, just 3 or 4. And my onions look nice now. I'm gonna return the rolls into my pan. And then we're gonna cover it with 4 cups of liquid. So I'm using beef stock today, but you can use really any type of stewing liquid. So it could be vegetable stock, it could be chicken stock or beef stock, or if you don't have any of those, you can even pour water over it. Just add a little bit more salt and pepper to it. And these nicely cover the bottom. I think I want to get these juices in here too, because why not? And then this will go over. Hopefully get enough to cover your meat. And I'm just going to move these around, make sure they're submerged. And I'm going to cover my stove, my pot, and turn this down to low simmer. And these guys will hang out here for at least 45 minutes. So my stove goes from 1 to 9, and I'm going to set this to 3 because I know that's what my stove just goes to, really tiny simmer where there's no rolling, just tiny bubbles. We don't want the beef rolls falling apart in that high kind of roll. So turn it down, make sure this comes to boil, then turn it down, and then kind of keep an eye on it and make sure you're not losing all of that stock, because we want the moisture in it to keep that beef moist. So we'll let it go for 45 minutes and we'll come check on it. Welcome back. We have been cooking our ZRAZY, our beef rolls, for a while. I actually let them go a little bit longer. It's been probably closer to an hour than 45 minutes, maybe even an hour and 10 or so. I checked them at 45 minutes and they were still too kind of rubbery and bouncy, I guess. We want this beef to be nice and soft, so when you bite into it, it kind of falls apart and you don't have to do a whole lot of work to eat these. They're supposed to be nice and moist and soft, and the bacon needs to be rendered down. So I checked them at about 45 minutes and I didn't think they were ready. So I let them go for a little bit longer. And you have to be the judge of that too. Be the chef that you are at home and take one out and cut a little piece of it. And if it falls apart in your mouth, it's nice and soft already. But don't take it over on the other side too far where they just fall apart in your pan completely. So just be a good judge. Now I'm going to take them out because I want to thicken the sauce a little bit. And you don't always have to do this. You can do this or not, but I'm going to blend my sauce today. So the onions will blend in it, and I want it a little bit smoother today. So I'm taking these out, and I have prepared a cup of cold water. This is my thickener. A cup of cold water and 3 tablespoons of just regular all-purpose flour. And once I take these out, and I'm going to also take out some of these. You can see in here my seeds are floating around. I don't want to maybe blend all of them, so I'm going to take these out and also take out the bay leaf. But once we make this sauce thicker, the beef rolls will go back into our bath. But I'm leaving the mushrooms in here. If you use the mushrooms for this recipe, you can leave yours in too. And if you happen to leave a peppercorn behind, that's no big deal. It'll get blended into the sauce and it'll just, give you more flavor. Flavor is good. So I have my stick blender, I think it's called, right?
It's a stick blender, immersion blender.
Immersion blender.
Or stick blender.
And mine works so I can turn down the rotation. So I'm starting low with mine. I don't want it splashing all over my kitchen. And I'm just going to turn it up and blend the onions and blend the mushrooms. Oh wait, I see one bay leaf. I don't necessarily want to blend the bay leaf. It'll just be kind of hard pieces in there. Blend everything together. Turn it up a little bit more. There we go. And there's a couple ways you can... Hello! That's when you need to have an apron, like this one. Don't you love it? What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I was gonna say about the thickening. I'm thickening mine today with water and flour mixture. You can also do a roux, which in Polish we call it zasmażka. This is when you heat a little bit of butter with flour in a small pan, and then you add that into your sauce. It's also delicious. Just kind of depends on what you want. I'm gonna just do the water and flour mixture. So look how it changed our sauce. It has that mustard color. I can definitely smell the mustard, kind of the vinegary kind of taste of mustard. I can smell in the air from the sauce, and it became nice and smooth. You don't have the little lumps from raw meat cooking first, and it looks better. So I put the water and flour in here just so it's easier for me to mix. And I'm going to bring this up a little bit because I want it to come up to a boil. And let this come together. And we at the end we also have to check our spices. Make sure it's got enough salt, and maybe needs a little bit more pepper if you like it spicy. The bacon melted a lot of the fat that was in there, and some of it went into the meat, and some of it went into our sauce. So that's also flavor. Let's see. That's delicious. Doesn't need anything. So we will just return these, and this is ready. And this can sit like this on your stove until you're ready to serve. Or if you want to make it ahead of time, just make sure to cool it completely and then refrigerate it and then heat it up again. I'm going to turn this off now. Came up to a boil. It became a little bit thicker. This gravy will work great over mashed potatoes or whatever your favorite starch is. You could do rice, you can do even pasta, or as you know, us Poles like to do different kinds of dumplings. So I would do this, if we were to do dumplings, I would either do kopytka, which is a potato dumpling that is made from cooked potatoes and flour. Or I would make it, I would serve it with kluski śląskie, which translates to Slezanian dumplings, and those are the round ones with the little dimple, and they're made with mixture of some raw onions in there too. So they look, I'm sorry, not raw onions. You add potato starch to it, and they glisten a little bit more. They look a little bit different than kopytka do. So this is ready. I'm excited to try this. I'm gonna put one. And when serving these, make sure to remove all of the, put a little bit of sauce on here. Remove your toothpicks. You don't want it served with toothpicks, so just be gentle and put them out. And they should come up pretty easily once your beef is nice and moist and cooked. They look delicious. They're nice and savory. And I taste that bacon already in the sauce too. So I'm going to cut them in half, just right down the middle so you can see. You can see the pickle in there and the bacon, and some of the onions escaped a little bit while cooking, but they're all in the sauce, so nothing goes to waste. I'm just going to cut a little piece of the beef and douse it in sauce and taste it. Perfect. Beef is tender. I can taste the pickle in the meat. It's an amazing traditional Polish dish. If you have a birthday coming up, Father's Day, Mother's Day, your favorite person's, whatever holiday they're celebrating, maybe you can surprise them with a nice Polish meal. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you come and see us again. We'll be cooking a bunch of different recipes. You can find more on my website, polishyourkitchen.com. We'll see you next time. Smacznego!